How are we going, everyone? Just preparing some sign wood here for a demonstration. We've been doing some grafting the last couple of days. One was with the Italian grafting tool. I haven't got it with me here to show you. You can check it out on our website. That's a tool with different cutting blades on it that you can do bud grafting and typical grafting, that is. And I also did yesterday, if you missed out, which is a whip and tongue. You can't see it. This is the Italian grafting tool. See that shape there, the wedge shape there? That's the Italian grafting tool there. These are just samples that I've got that I used. Obviously they're not connected to any tree. And here's the other one, that way up. And you can see that's a whip and tongue. So basically what that is a little wedge in the splice which helps to hold the two pieces together. You can check all that out on our YouTube channel on grafting. And what I've got today, what I'm going to demonstrate is, it's one of these ones here actually. This is the introduction to grafting, which you get with your grafting tool. So if you're buying any grafting equipment from our website, you'll get this little manual here that gives you 4 or 5 different methods of grafting, the purpose of grafting, how it works, and the key factors that you need to focus on when it comes to joining the two pieces together. So what we're doing here today, I don't know which one am I going to do. I'll do the Cleft graft. That's this one here. So you'll see this in your manual when you buy your grafting tools, and I'm going to use the bud or graft and budding knife here. Now this one here we're giving away with every order over $100. You get one of these little beauties to take home with you, and you can go and practice as much grafting as you like with it, and budding too. So today we're going to use this to do the demonstration, and the Cleft graft is basically done on the rootstock. So the rootstock is the part that's connected to the roots, obviously, the tree that you want to change. Let's say you've got an apple tree that you're not happy with, it's not performing well, you want to change the variety, or you want to add some more onto it, and you've got large branches. So branches that are about 20 millimeters, not centimeters, 20 millimeters or 25 millimeters in diameter and larger, up to about 100 mil in diameter, nothing larger than that. It starts to change the grafting technique from there on. So up to that sort of size, or let's say 75 millimeter, you can do a Cleft graft. And what you need to do is basically imagine the base has got the rootstock. I'm using this as a sample. What we're going to do is cut a wedge or a splice down the middle of this. Now you can do it either with a large knife, Stanley knife, or a grafting knife, and tap it down if it's a larger variety, because you're not going to be able to cut it with this little knife if it's 75 millimeters or 77.5 centimeters in diameter. So normally you'll get something larger as a blade and you use a hammer to tap it down to split it open. But this one here should be okay. So I'm going to line it up like that. See it there? And now I'm going to do my rocking motion, as I always say. Take your time. Now this is not connected to a tree. See that? It's cut off at the end. If it was connected to a tree, it could be either a stump like this, or it would be a branch like this, growing out sideways or horizontal or slightly on an angle. So if it was a tree, you'd be able to do it like that. If it was a branch or a stump, we'll be doing this. Now don't push really hard. And at the moment I'm holding it with my hand down here, which can be dangerous if I'm not careful, if I try and force it too hard. So slight rocking like that, it'll work its way through. Now I have got a knot here, that's where a branch comes out. So when you buy pieces of wood, you know, timber for construction, you've got knots in them, that's where the branches are. So you'll find a bit of a hard spot there to get through, because the grains change direction and all things like that. So we're going down. Now we're going to go down about 50 mil, 60 mil, not too much more. See that? Now it's going really easy. I've gone past the hard point, bit more, and you can hear it splitting open. See that there? That's all we're doing there. Now we need to get down a little bit more, because the piece of wood that we're putting in there is only going to be about 30 centimeters in length. So we need this to be a little bit more than that. Okay, that's done. Now you need to keep this open. Now there's a Cleft tool that looks like that, but it's got an actual U shape on it, or 90-degree curve on it. I haven't got one here to show you, but a flathead screwdriver or something small like this is perfect to wedge inside and pry open when you need to. See how I'm opening that? Now I'm going to do that like that afterwards when I start to put my 2 little samples in. Here I'm going to put 2 pieces of sign wood. Now I'm going to get one on that side and one on this side. And to do that, what we need to do with this first is, let me cut it shorter first because I don't need this length. I need to cut a wedge on this, like a flathead screwdriver. So one side flat like this, and then we do the other side as well. Now it's got to be slightly, we call it truncated, which means if I've done it right, I'll see nearly, I've got to clean that up a little bit. I'm just going to hold it this way so you can see it. No, I can't because I've got a curved blade here as well, folks. So this side's flat, this side's curved. If I run it this way, it's going to cause me to lift up. So I need to run it in the same direction like that. There we are. So what we have is a tapered side on this side. See, it's tapering down there. And that side is a little bit wider, and I need to take a little bit more off there. Ideally, you don't want to be doing that too many times, running your blade across it, because it can cause a little bit of damage. But anyway, that's a nice tapered side. This is slightly wider. So that's what you want to do with both pieces. So that's one done. Now I'll do one more on the other side. And make sure you don't tamper with the sample or the cuts too much, because you'll contaminate it. All right. Again, now one side like that. That needs a bit more because I went through a knot. And do the other side as well. Yep, done. And now all we need to do is insert it. Now what I'm doing here, I've got 2 small branches that I'm going to insert into a large rootstock. Signwood, this is what I want to grow, and this is the graft union where I want to join them together. So right here is where it all happens. Now these are smaller in diameter. I've had a lot of people email me saying they've tried to graft something and they were unsuccessful. And then I ask, what have you done? And they come back to me and said, look, I've got a rootstock like this, and I've seen a photo of it. And that's what I asked for, send me a photo so you can show me what you've done. And what they've done is this. They've got, let me hold this properly. They've got the rootstock like that, a large diameter, and they shoved their graft in the middle like that. What's wrong with that? Is that going to work? It looks like it's perfect. We've got gaps on the side. We can seal that over, close it up. But why wouldn't that work? It's called the cambium layer. Now, I'm tampering with this. This is not what you do with your sample when you're doing it with that, because these are just offcuts. What we're looking for here is that lime green colour that runs down just underneath the skin there, or the bark. That's the pipeline. That's where all the sap flows. So the inner part is where it was about 2 years ago. That's where it started off in, like a little pencil. For example, this one here. And every year, as we know, trees have rings in them, and each ring represents a year. Every year it grows a new ring, and it gets wider and wider. So now at this year, this is the outer ring, the outer bark, and the inside part is where the sap flows. Yeah, there's moisture everywhere, but that's the main pipeline. So we want that connection there, that point there, to connect with the pipeline just in there. This is a larger diameter piece of wood here, so that means the outer bark is thicker. So therefore, you don't line it up flush completely. This has to sit in a little bit because that's a much thinner outer skin compared to this one there. So what we need to do is line up the cambium layers. So putting it in the middle, you're miles away from the cambium layer. They're not lining up anywhere. Putting it to the side is perfect. And because we've got a larger diameter rootstock, we can insert 2. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So let's get our little cleft tool in the middle. This is what I'm using as one. Opening it up, because it's quite rigid, and we're going to push this in, down, and we're going to get it, not outside. Wait, this isn't happening because I've got the other piece of wood in my hand. Now folks, normally I wouldn't be holding the rootstock because it's not connected to anything, see that? So I've got to balance that out, and I can do this properly. See, if there was a root to this base here, it would be perfect. So imagine that's connected to something, and mind my left hand balancing it all, because I've got to try and do this in mid-air. Again, I haven't got my glasses on. I can't tell. I think it's right. Yep, yeah, that's it. Just a little bit in there. Have a close look at that. Okay. Over the top. Now we've got the one in there. We've got to insert the other side. Now I was talking earlier about a truncated sort of wedge, which means one side's wider than the other. So making sure that the wide side is to the outside is what you want to do. You can, if you want to, only put one in and seal it off like this, and the other side closes. See that? See how I've done that? But when you tape it up, it's going to close really tight. You don't want air getting in. And most times you can put some wax on there too at the end of it. But in this case, we're going to just insert two of these. Now, it's already wedged open. There we are. A little bit more deeper, this one. Okay, so we've got the two inserted. Now, what I noticed here, this one is a little bit smaller in diameter than this one here. That's smaller, see that? That's the error I've just made and I picked up myself. They should be exactly the same diameter. Well, it's better that they are, because have a look at the problem. See there, that's sealed. That's not the problem. We've got a little bit of a split below it. That's okay. You can get away with that. But it's this side here. Have a look at the problem here. This is what you've got to look out for. All right, so I didn't get this right the first time. It means I've got to do this one again. But I'm not going to do it now. I'm just going to demonstrate and explain to you the problem. It's not touching. There's an air pocket there. There's a cavity there. So that means the sap flow is not coming through and not connecting efficiently entirely through the actual sign wood. So it's not going to travel through properly. It'll pick up over there, but not down below there. So that needs to be done again so that we have got the same connection as we have on this side. You can probably try and squeeze it, if I can do it like this and look at it at the same time. See, I'm squeezing that, but that's pretty difficult to do as well. You can try and squeeze it, or otherwise take it out and find a piece of timber that's about the same size. Yep, and do it again. So here we go. Now we've just done another cut. Let's see how this goes. There we are. We've got one here, and we've got the other one there. Just slight adjustments, and that's it. And now we're going to tape this up, folks. Now, what you can do is actually get some wax and melt it over the top to seal it, or you can use clay. So clay from the garden, if you've got a clay-based garden bed, take a little bit of clay, wet clay, and just press it in carefully all over the outside. I'm not going to do that now because I've got to dig up and I've got sandy loam everywhere here. So you can do that if you like, or just use some buddy tape or grafting tape. Now I'm going to use the buddy tape here. This is the soft stuff, which is great for bud grafting and small grafts. And this cleft graft is quite solid. So as long as you've got them nice and level. Now, not like what I've done here, folks. I've been triple handling it because I'm doing the demonstration, obviously, and these are not connected to any roots. It's not going to grow, obviously. When you do handle yours, do take care when you do that. Make sure you're not triple handling it, and do not touch the open cuts, because it's not going to seal properly otherwise. Now you need to seal over the top as well to avoid moisture getting in, like this. Get around, go back in, around, over the top again. You can use the buddy tape, or you can use the bio tape, which is 1/10 of the price. But what you've got to do either way is make sure you seal it all over so no moisture gets in there, and it's nice and well protected and closed off. Now, you'll get the idea. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Seal it all off all the way down, and obviously on top, cut it off to an outward facing bud, like that, and like that. Why I'm turning my secateurs around is I want the blade to be facing down, to be on the downside, so I don't damage the wood. So there we have, we've got a bud there, we've got a couple of buds there. That will grow out and become maybe two different apples if you like. So folks, give it a go. If you've got an apple tree or a fruit tree or an ornamental tree that you want to change a variety or put 2 varieties on. And remember, it's always got to be same with the same. Apples, pears, cherries, and whatever you like to be together. Don't try and cross over with an apple and a cherry tree. It's just not going to grow. You'll get this, as I said, you're going to get a grafting tool if you want. With every grafting tool that we have online, you get this little book or pamphlet here that gives you all the tips and advice that you need in grafting, so you can become just like the professionals and have multiple fruit growing or flowering plants growing on the one tree. And as we said also earlier, we're giving these away with every $100 spent on our website. Now folks, it is our big long weekend. I call it the long weekend sale because it ends midnight tonight. Up to 60% off everything online and 65% off black grit, pack deals and single deals as well. And $80 spent, you get free shipping Australia-wide. Go up to $100 and you can get yourself this little grafting tool here for you to go and practice at home. It's all on vasilisgarden.com. From me, Vasili Maresi.